Mr. Blake, thank you for sitting down and talking with us today. I know your family has had a long history and a relationship with the Chicago Defender. Can you talk to me a little bit about your family's history with the Defender?
My father being an activist back in the 60s and the 50s. And when I was born, I was maybe understating a rambunctious kid. So my mother having three kids would make me go with my father. So each day there were things that we did at the Defender and the Urban League, and all of it was right down, was at State Street or Michigan Avenue, one of the two.
Mm.
And we would just go down making our loop. We'd end up at Push. I'd run around and push. Everybody tell me to stop running as I go past it. You know. But my father built St. James AME Church on the south side, the only crosswalk that goes across I-94, or the Dan Ryan. It was because a little girl was trying to cross from the other side of the street where the school is and come to church, and she got killed. So my old man got on original Mayor Daley and made him build that crosswalk across so that our parishioners didn't have to walk to either end. They could just come across the middle.
Well, that was another thing. We recently ran a story on your father and his history as far as literally fighting for housing equality and
Yeah.
affordable housing
Yes.
across the city. So this is something your family has been involved in for generations at this point.
Quite,
Yeah.
right. But I was built to do a certain job, and sometimes you don't realize what it is until it lands on your lap. We didn't choose this situation. The situation chose us. So if I have to represent my people, I'm going to represent them at the top of the level of being represented. I'm not going to embarrass my people or come out of some crazy bag, because that's not what we need. We need unity. We need to bridge the gap between the two judicial systems. See, there's a justice system for them, and then there's just us. And there's no humanity in that. So you're trying to tell me I'm less than you are. I'm less than human. Until you make me an equal human, we will not stop. Until you say it out of your mouth and put it in writing that we are equal. Humanity has no big eyes and little U's. You understand? But they're treating us. Why in 2020 do I have to sit here with you and explain to you that my son is a human being? Or that you're a human being when I'm talking to one of them? This is 2020. My father gave his life for our brothers and sisters. He left here fighting for us to have. At one point in time, they called it redlining. And in Evanston, there were lines that were drawn. And where those lines were drawn, black people couldn't live past those lines. They had to live within those lines. My father helped abolish those red lines in Evanston so that you could live anywhere you wanted.
Well, I want to talk briefly about your son and how these events have completely changed your family's life forever. How is Jacob Blake? How are his children? How are you all doing?
It's not something that you can just say in one sentence or one blurb. It's a ongoing battle that you must be prepared to fight. And my son is totally prepared to deal with this battle. He's been besmudged by the police, the news. I've been besmudged. I have death threats. For what? I didn't do anything to anybody. All I did was stand up for my son. And stand up for my community. And if you want to kill me for that, then it's time for me to go. If Allah sees fit, then that's what will happen to me. But until that day, I fight for mine, and I fight for my people. Because obviously, it's a changing of the guard. You understand? It's time for a change, and it's time to be serious about what we're doing and put our nose back down. See, we were satisfied for too long, but we received nothing. So it was all an illusion. You know, it was an illusion. We're still talking about voter registration and rights in 2020. It's an illusion, and they have control over the illusion. So we gotta fix it. We gotta fix it.
One of the things that I noticed with any of these cases, but particularly yours and your son's, is that when these incidents happen in an election year, then they become very politicized, and it moves away from the actual message of ending police brutality, of seeing people for human beings. What has been the challenge with you and your family to keep the message where it needs to be?
Well, because my family is united, and because I'm the spokesperson, we keep our lines of what we're going to speak on tight. You know, one doesn't speak over here and doesn't know what the other one is speaking on. We keep it tight so that we understand. If you listen to any of my interviews, I make no political one way or the other.
Right.
I'll speak about a person and what that person has done, but I won't speak about a party or making a choice. I want everyone to get out to vote because that's important, the importance of voting. I don't care which way you vote, one way or the other. Vote. Vote. We understand what we have to do, but I'm not going to spout my political opinion right now. I will eventually, because I definitely have one. But right now, that's not, our concentration is on the health of my son, not on who's doing what. It's on the health of my son. Now, once he's stable, now it goes to changing these laws. And whatever when I go to DC and I sit in DC and I lobby for these changes, that's when it becomes political.
What would you like to see happen in regards to police reform? Do you believe in defunding the police?
See, you have to be careful when you say defunding, because our Caucasian counterparts look, when you say defunding the police, meaning you're going to take away the police, abolish the police. No. What we're saying is when something is broken as this system is, it needs to be revitalized. There needs to be a revitalization of police across the United States. There needs to be an understanding of the importance of a psychological person to evaluate case to case. If there's a smell of a psychological problem, that brother would still be here in Buffalo. If there was somebody to say, oh, this guy has got a problem, man, you can't just run up on him. You know, you can't just do this. He's a human. He has an illness. So if we don't reacclimate the way funds are being spent and reappropriate such funds, then we're going to continue to see Jacob Blake's, Breonna Taylor's, Ahmaud Arbery's, George, and the one that hurt me the most, the two that hurt me the most is because I wasn't there to defend Trayvon. I wasn't there to help Tamir. Those are little boys. You understand? Tamir was just in the park. Do you think he woke up thinking this is my last day on earth? Either one. Nobody did.
And that's because historically they have looked at our children as not children. They don't see the humanity.
If you don't look at a people as human, then you judge them across the board. You judge them across, and we've been judged across the board so long. It's just not. We demand to be recognized as human beings. We demand it.
Well, that was one of the things that I noticed even with the march yesterday. The focus was really on getting people out to vote and to educate people on the process of what's going on. The only way to really affect change is to get in there and make a decision in the voting booth so we can have
Some say.
some people, yeah, some people who have our backs when it
Right.
comes to actually creating laws and designing new legislator that will help us in our community. Is
Right.
that your focus as a family now?
My focus as a family is to change the laws that do not address situations like my son. How can you do something to somebody, 7 bullets in the back, and then you shackle them
Right.
to a bed? So all the different stories, I can't comment on the case.
So can we talk a little bit about your family and how you guys are dealing with this? And when I say dealing with this, you're thrust into the spotlight, you're thrust into political conversation, you're thrust into activism, for lack of a better word. What do you guys do to make sure that, specifically you, what are you doing to take care of you so you can take care of your son and his grandchildren at this point?
Well, I surround myself by people who are positive and pro us, my family meaning. And then I eat correctly because I have several illnesses that I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So if I do not rest and I do not eat properly, then I end up in the hospital like I did in Milwaukee. Now, fortunately, I've been doing the right thing. And mentally, I don't even feel the stress because I don't identify it as stress. I identify it as being a father. So when all the kids come to me and they ask me questions or they need assistance in making decisions or whatever it is, that's my job. So sometimes your job gets a little moving, hectic.
Yeah.
But it's your job to be able to elevate yourself to keep your job from being over what you know.
That's
What I'm,
right.
you
That's right.
you redirect your energies. So I've never been a person. I've never been scary. I've never been under pressure. I don't have gray hairs in my head that much because I don't do stress. Because there's nothing you can do other than follow your path that Allah or your Creator has set out for you. So He's not going to put anything on you too heavy for you to burden, too heavy of a burden for you to handle.
Yeah.
So that's the way I take it. Okay, He meant for me to do this. He meant for me to handle this. We didn't choose this. This chose us. So I was built for this.
Ideally, what does justice look like to you?
Justice looks like when I go before a judge that I'm not guilty and have to prove my innocence. It's supposed to be the other way around, that you're innocent until you prove your guilt, or until they prove your guilt. Well, being African American in the Chicago area, I've always been guilty. Even before I was arrested for anything, they assume that you're guilty. Well, you know what they say about assumption. All right, I'm 50, however old I am. I've never had a felony. But I've never had a felony. I own my own business for 33 years. I never had a felony. My son's 29. He's never had a felony.
Yeah.
So you can listen to whatever you want to listen to.
Well, that was one of the reasons I wanted to speak to you specifically, because I wanted our readers to hear from you. And I wanted them to cut through all the social media chatter and get the facts about not just you, your son, but your family and your family's history. What do you want people to know that they haven't heard before?
I want people to understand that my family is a typical family. We have educated people, we have people that worked and trained, and we have hard workers, we have, a full plethora of people that did things in my family.
Yeah.
But they raised their families, family. We believe in family.
Mm-hmm.
But you stick by your family. You understand? If we got a bag of beans and a bag of rice, we gonna eat these beans and this rice, and I'm gonna make some hot water cornbread, and we all gonna eat.
We all gonna eat. That's it.
That's family.
Mm-hmm.
Family ain't, I don't eat no beans. That ain't family. If you don't eat no beans, then your ribs is gonna be touching your stomach. So we share everything we have.
Yeah.
And we understand the importance of sharing. Even if you share your positive emotion with other people,
Mm-hmm.
they can be swayed off of being depressed
Mm-hmm.
by just you being you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what that person is. I've been a leader my whole life. I've never had the opportunity of following anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a leader because I understood that you can't ask somebody to do something that you won't do. And if you understand that there's, in an organization or in a group, there's no big I's and little U's. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's about the marriage of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know the plan, then you can't be married to it. You can't be selfish with the plan. You have to share the plan so everybody feels a part.
Mm-hmm.
So when they feel a part of that plan and you implement that plan, there's nothing more satisfying to be a part of that, because you've already accomplished something.
Yeah.
And most people, sometimes they never finish.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a great finisher. I'm a terrible loser. Anybody can tell you that. I hate to lose, but I can finish stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just drive you. I'm not going to pull the train up to the station. I'm going into the station. So that's what we're banking that my people will understand the importance of such things.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I've loved, in addition to everything that's happened, is the incredible support that has come to you, to your family, from places you may have never even expected. Athletes, celebrities, and the community, the Black community in particular, that understands, what our families look like and see themselves reflected in you and yours. How is that support from your own community like?
Excuse me. That's some of the best stuff. You can't bag it up and sell it in a container or a cookie bag. It's some of the realest. The Milwaukee Bucks brought tears to my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes after they walked off the floor, they were on the phone with me. And it made me weep. Then I was on speaker and you could hear the brothers in the locker room weeping with me. And, that was a special moment.
Yeah.
That was a special moment. The Green Bay Packers paid for our hotels. The Bucks paid for our hotels when we were in Milwaukee and in Wisconsin. And there's been so many others.
Yeah.
The group in Evanston, the young ladies, Evanston Fights for Black Lives. Man, they paid all our rent first month. $15,000 so that everybody could make it up there and not have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Things of that nature, that's Allah to me. That's God pulling his strings. And that's what it's, You ask, how does it make me feel? It makes me feel loved. And see, there's not enough love. See, I love everyone. That used to be my downfall. They would say, man, you trust them too much. I said, well, you have to wait for them to show you who they are.
Right.
But if I love them, then there's no mistake that they betrayed my love for them.
Yeah.
I'd rather be in that spot. But it makes me feel loved.
Well, I hope you know from the Chicago Defender and the family that we have that you are loved and supported.
The Defender has been a part of my life. The Urban League has been a part of my life. Chicago is a part of my life. And I've never been let down by the city.
Yep.
Except for when it gets cold. My arthritis, see, I've had 7D surgery.
Okay,
So
yeah.
my arthritis in my knee,
That cold ain't
it's a
nothing
wooga
nice.
booger. It's a wooga booger, that's all I can tell you. It used to never bother me, but now, Lord have mercy, it started hurting me this morning. I
Yeah,
said,
'cause
if this is what we're going to go through, I'm going to be eating ibuprofen for the next 3 months.
No, and I appreciate you taking the time just to
Okay.
talk to us. I really do.